Hello?
Hello?
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Curiosity Cove. My name's Veda.
And this is your trusty Captain speaking, and today we're joined by the lovely Choccy!
Hi,
Hi.
Chalky.
Hello.
Hello.
And
man.
I don't think that we really need to introduce the topic. Cause
No, I don't think so. I think it's been the
a
topic
long
of discussion
time.
for a
Dude,
while, actually.
I dare say, since our very first League podcast, this has been a highly requested thing.
So you're saying we took over a year to do this?
Yes.
Oops.
Yes.
Oopsies.
I'm 98% sure the first time we did a League podcast, shortly after, was when Esper said you should totally do Star Guardian lore.
Yeah.
I'm 98% sure it's been that long of a time coming.
Well, you know, we just needed to pass the 1 year mark. We were hitting a goal. That's why it's happening now.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How are you guys' days?
Honestly, mine was like pretty flat, all things considered. Oh, no, something cool did. Well, I don't think I should say it's cool. Something crazy did happen on the way home from work. I was on the highway, right? And I'm on the highway, and I'm like, I'm not sick, but I'm not well, because that my song came on, and I love that song, right? And I'm just bopping, and I'm like looking off into the distance, and I'm like, damn, the clouds are really dark. And then like I kept driving, and I realized like, oh, those are not clouds. A car on the other side of the highway, like oncoming traffic, you know. I don't know if it broke down. I don't know if it fucking exploded. I don't know if it was like a semi-oil tanker or something. Like, there was just so much smoke that it was drifting onto our side of the highway. We had to stop and go like 3 miles an hour because you could not see more than like half a foot in front of your car.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, and like I'm surprised that there wasn't a pileup, but I think all of the lights from the cops and everything kind of like told you to slow down at the beginning, right? And then it's like maybe 4 or 5 feet of like not being able to see anything, and then you're just through the smoke. And so everyone, you know, it like you aren't in the smoke for long, and so like naturally, as long as you're not stupid and think you can fucking fly through it, you're gonna be fine. But yeah, it was crazy. I was like, because I was just sitting there and I was like bopping to my music, and I was like, damn, this is crazy. This is crazy. What's happening? Like,
why are we
my energy?
Where'd that smoke?
my energy went from a 10 down to like a 4 really quick because I was like, damn, a car exploded.
That would have messed me up though, especially if it was in like peak of the song.
Yeah, no, that's the whole thing. Is like my favorite part of the song is, you know, the do you know the song I'm talking about? The paranoia, everybody's coming to get me.
Yeah.
So it was that part, which is my favorite part of the song. I love that last chorus. And I'm like, paranoia, what's going on?
What's going on?
Yeah. And then I was scared shitless for the end of the song. And then I don't even know what played. I think I called my mom and I was like, is this normal? What's like...
Am I okay?
I don't know why my first thought was like I should call my mom because I just saw like maybe an exploded car on the side of the road, but that was my first thought.
It's not like she could offer you any assistance, you know?
No, there's nothing she can do, but I just wanted her to know that I went through it, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe I just needed to scrump some courage from her, you know?
True, you really did. Oh my gosh.
How was your guys' day, though?
Yeah, Choccy, how was your day?
It was pretty good. I mean, I took a half day and then I grinded out some stuff for podcasts. So
Girl, I'm still working on mine.
Yeah, I was like, maybe I'll get off work early today because I want to polish off the PowerPoint, you know, get it all ready. So yeah, so it was pretty chill though. It wasn't bad. How was your day, Kat?
It was pretty chill. I also was working today, but it was super slow. And normally I'd be like, oh, you know, I didn't have anything to do. I did not care today. I took it and I was just chilling. I went on my lunch. I took a 30-minute nap. I came back, did a little some cleaning, and then I was like, all right, guys, I'm leaving. They said, okay, bye. And I was like, this is just so beautiful because my weekends have been so busy recently that having like a slow day, finally, I just took it. I didn't busy myself. I just did nothing. And it was beautiful and made money. So, W.
Hell yeah.
I also
That's what
stayed
we
up a
like to
little late
see.
last night because I knew I had to work today, finishing my PowerPoint. So,
Yeah.
teehee.
I'm not kidding. I know what you guys are here for. I do realize that I am unfortunately shouldered with the burden whatever. I am burdened with glorious purpose
Glorious purpose.
to share to you guys the Star Guardian lore. I have not finished the PowerPoint. So while I do that, Chalky and Cap are gonna take you through some other skin lines.
Yes.
And yeah, who wants to start?
I can if you'd like. I got the high noon.
It's Hadu.
It's high noon. All right, let me get the slideshow up and ready so then Veda can switch us over for you guys.
Hell yeah.
I am super excited for this, to be honest, because I didn't know anything in regards to the high noon skin line. To be honest, before we even started this, let me just do like right off the gate. I didn't know skin lines had lore.
Really?
No, at all.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't know. I kind of just thought they busted it out and were like, yeah, these are just really cool concepts that we wanted to add in. Cause like an old Western theme is not really far off from just being like a good general skin line. So then you were like, let's do Star Guardian lore. And I was like, okay, so like that makes sense because I know the Star Guardians, I knew that one had lore.
Yeah.
But then I was like, huh, I guess the other ones would have to as well. So this was actually super interesting for me. I also love the skin line myself. Just the high noon skins are just mwah, chef's kiss.
Yeah.
But without further ado, a general basis of what I found out in regards to the skin line, because I had nothing, starting with nada. The high noon is called high noon gothic. Actually, that's what the league
Really?
calls it. Yeah, high noon gothic.
Wait, I kind of
Yeah.
love that because
Well,
it's
they just
very
shortened it
like
to high noon.
yeah, it's very like it makes sense though because it's very like it's very Western, but it makes sense for like Leona's skin because hers is so like Victorian Gothic themed as well.
That's why I like, if you look closer at like Mordekaisers or Urgots, they have like gothic designs in their mechanical
Yeah,
parts.
that's
That's
so
what I liked it too.
cool.
I don't understand why they left it out. But yes,
Yeah.
that is its full name, High Noon Gothic. It's a series that follows an alternate future slash universe with the skins for all the different characters. And mind you, I went through every single character. You will see them all on here. I did not know that this was this many high noon skins. Some of you even might be surprised by some of them that I name. But besides the point. It is set in a desert setting. Each champion has a quote unquote Western hero, villain, creature, thing kind of theme going on. At the height of its industrial revolution, travelers began pouring into the untamed West, searching for fortune and prosperity among the unknown horrors of a cruel and ancient world. It is a time for brave gunslingers and rotten scoundrels, inscrutable gods, and savage demons. Gunslingers and lawmen ride beneath the merciless sun at the high frontier, chasing survival and salvation in equal measure. Heaven is rubble, hell is empty, and all the devils are here. Basically, in summary, before we jump into why the characters are the way that they are and how they tie in with this weird storyline, basically, the alternate universe is, as they said, an old Western kind of theme where each of the towns are kind of barren, and that's for good reason. There's not a whole lot of people around. Unfortunately, as we know, big bad Mordekaiser, who does have a high noon skin, is the big bad guy of current Runeterra. He just wreaks havoc. He used to go chill over in Noxus in his little tower and stuff. Here he is hell on wheels, and I say wheels literally. He is the king of the sulfur, rail. Basically, what he did is he finessed somebody, and I'll say who later, to go up to heaven. And as he was entering heaven, he said, "That's silly because I'm going to let all hell in." So he knocked down heaven's gate and let all the demons in, and they just ripped apart heaven. So he caused everybody to basically just have a one-stop destination of only being hell, and destroyed the only place that they had for salvation. And on top of that, the sulfur rails in the Western realm carried treasure, goods, food, supplies, all that jazz. He took that too. He decided that everything was going to be his, and the only way to monopolize that was to take over the train tracks and the rail system entirely. So there are also a couple of they're called harbingers. There's 5 of them. They come in and they're the ones who have beef with Mordekaiser, who are, I wouldn't say the strongest champions, but they're definitely some that come in and they're sticking up for uh themselves and for the people, like for mankind, people without any powers or anything like that. So, without further ado, this is the High Noon skin line brought to you by me. And first, we're starting off with the lovely Sheriff Caitlin. She's actually the only sheriff in the town of Progress. It's not even called anything different. I know if you guys have seen Arcane, they just called it Piltover. They just called it Progress here. So I don't know if this was the basis of where the Industrial Revolution came from, because as we know that this was the place where they would develop hex tech and all that jazz. As far as I know, hex tech is not a thing in the old Western realm. Not sure if that was because it's set back in a time frame where it's quote unquote old westerny and they don't have enough like tech like that. But then you see some of these other skins that have like extreme amounts of tech, and some of the champions that are involved are very knowledgeable and like intelligent enough to develop those things.
Mhm.
But anyways, basically she's the only one there who can stand up for the law, so she basically gets to do whatever she wants. She goes in, if there's a bad guy, she'll take you out. If you're just a do-gooder who like messed up or something, she could take you out too, because who are you going to complain to?
Mhm.
She's the law. So Caitlyn just gets to do whatever, and she's the boss lady around there. And then we've got our start of the Cowboys, starting off with our lovely Longhorn Alistair. He's basically your muscle for hire. He's the beefcake in town, literally beefcake. And he will do anything for money. He never claims himself to be a bounty hunter, but basically if you pay him and tell him a job, he'll get it done and he'll come right back for that money instantly. And I couldn't help but put the line from one of his skins. "You can't milk those." I love that line from Alistair. I think it's the funniest shit ever. I can't. This is one of the older skin lines for before they started all being called High Noon. There's a couple in here. Sheriff Caitlin was another one as well. And then we've got Desperata Cassiopeia. To be honest, this skin needs some help. This skin art is very bad, and on
Holy
top of that,
shit.
it in game is the ugliest skin I've ever seen.
I
I
just
kind
love
of
that.
love it though.
I just love that. To be, if we're being honest, this skin needs some help.
It really does. There's a few of the older skins in here that I'm like, why did you do this? Why did you see that the high new skins were coming out and being a great hit and you left these alone, but they're part of the same lore? You're messed up. This one is literally like she has a rattlesnake snake bottom, and then she gets a hat. That's the only difference. And in game, I swear the graphics for this are terrible. But anyways, as her name says, she's an infamous outlaw, and she started a gang, aka a bandit clan is what they were called back then. And she just goes around causing havoc everywhere. She just picks a fight with everyone, and she actually started a coup on the clan that she started as her own, because she was out doing so much bad that there was a new leader picked while she was gone, because she didn't like to stick around. And then she came back, and then she staged a coup with the people who like were actually loyal to her, and then just took her clan back.
Oh,
So I guess she can be
oh,
kind of a badass at times.
okay.
And then we got High Noon Darius. I love this skin. This skin was gorgeous. So he was quote unquote once human. So he is actually part demon. They didn't say like exactly how he became a demon, but he's only part of it. So kind of like halfway. But unfortunately, his brother Draven, yeah, they did a 1v1 out in public, and he lost
Oh.
very bad. And so then everybody in they didn't say what town, but basically everyone in town kind of laughed at him and basically said he isn't worthy enough to be a manhunter, aka bounty hunter.
Mhm.
So he stopped getting what's it called? Like hits and stuff, like people coming up to him being like, "Yo, I need you to take this guy out."
Yeah,
They said, "You're not good
bounties.
enough," essentially. Yeah. So he got really sad, and because his pride was wounded, he actually went and talked to Hecarim. Hecarim is one of the big hotshots around here, and he struck a deal with him to try and get back at Draven. It hasn't fully came out yet as to if the plan succeeded or not, but basically it was interesting to find that Darius, who normally like sticks on his own and like does his own thing, and he's strong enough to do so, that he was in cahoots with another champ is just very interesting in this
Mhm.
this alternate universe. And then one of my new favorite skins that came out in the second batch is High Noon Gragas. He's got two names that they bound together. So basically, if you go to any tavern, aka literally all of them, because he kind of is the big schmo for all of them.
Mhm.
He's the gentleman giant, the old cast breaker. He is the sweetest dude that can be. If you go to any bar, he'll make sure you're taken care of. He's got you. He's got your tab all in order. If your drink's empty, no, it's not. He's got you. And he just walks around. He's not an angel nor a devil. He just is like a friendly guy, but he also is the muscle of the establishment. If you try to
Mhm.
walk out on your tab, he will kill you.
Oh.
100%. With the cask.
No, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. He'll just take his barrel and you're gone. Also, I
Right.
said you could also find him at the Salty Spittoon if you ever needed to. Wholesome guy. And then, of course, what's Bounty Hunters without the number one, High Noon Jin?
Hell
Um,
yeah.
he literally said in his lore, it said he is looking to make a name for himself. And I said, Gambit who? So he is a mechanical assassin. His rifle was made by, I believe, Victor, is what they said. And he goes around and he takes any and all wanted, live or dead. Normally he gives them dead, but he is one of the best hotshots out here. And if you are at a crossroads and he's got your name on his next ticket, you're gonna get punched 100%.
Yeah.
He is ones that like never misses as well, obviously. And then with some of these skins as well, there are prestige versions, which I
Mhm.
found interesting. The prestige of a High Noon skin normally turns the character good.
Oh,
Like in like not an angel versus devil type way, but kind of like it switches their morals to be more on the good
That's
side,
so
which is interesting.
interesting. Yeah, because mine
Yeah.
does the same thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'll explain when we get
Weird.
there, but yeah, I have the same thing going on.
Yeah, so for this one, Lucian was actually a former federal marshal and gunslinger for hire, but he got corrupted, which you can see in his splash art. His left arm has got a little bit of a demon going on. Actually, he was corrupted. His soul was corrupted. That's why he's half and half kind of thing. But it was because he had to make a deal with a demon to spare his true love, which we know is Senna, of course. But the devil double-crossed him, and now he is constantly at war with himself to not take over, excuse me, to like keep in the right state of mind against the demon that's inside of him. But because he's prestige, if you do have that one, even though the powers of hell are cursing Lucian and enveloping with a dark evil aura, he never stopped believing in one thing. As long as his love stays strong and his determination to save his love doesn't waver, darkness shall never consume him. So basically, as long as he keeps in the forefront of his mind that he's doing this for Senna and that his love remains pure, the pureness of love keeps the demon at bay, and he can remain in like the forefront of his mind and stay conscious and not go all gunslinging all over the place. Which I love. I wish
Yeah.
I put the prestige in here, but I kind of love this skin even more. It was kind of hard to find the prestige splash art,
I
or at least a good one.
love this splash art.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, it's like because it reminds me of like those really awesome old Western films when they would like kick the saloon doors open.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like
then
the
the whistle
smoking
would go.
gun, and yeah.
Wah. True.
Such
He's
a
the perfect
vibe.
guy for it, you know?
True, so true.
And then, of course, our lovely cowgirl, Miss Fortune. She's our quote-unquote top dollar bounty hunter, Miss Sarah Fortune. She literally will not take any of that petty low-life shit for the bounty hunters. Only the top
Mm-mm.
dollar and full coin upfront for her. To be honest, I think this skin needs a rework. I think the splash art is stunning. It in-game needs some rework.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah. I just feel like her boots could like kick up tumbleweeds or something, and then she can have a bigger hat. I don't know. I just think it needs to be cooler. And maybe do like the old Western sound when she kicks open for her ulti. I think she needs some help. She needs some love, and that's my girl right there. I love Miss Fortune so much.
Does anybody know if High Noon Jin's music is the same as his bass music?
What do you
Because
mean?
you know when Jin's music, like when he ults, he gets like the grand music or
Oh no, it's
whatever.
Western.
It is Western. Oh, I need to
Yes, it
hear
is.
it.
I have the skin. We can play sometime.
Oh my god. Well, I won't get to hear it, but you need to play and stream for me so that I can hear it happen for you.
Can you not hear it
No, when you ult, you're the only person who gets to hear. Like it's the symphony in his head. You're the only one hearing it.
Oh damn.
Yeah.
Loki didn't know that. Fun fact. There you go. Well, I got you then. She doesn't really have any other backstory. She kind of just gets to be a hotshot out here. Kind of like she was for Bilgewater too. So she kind of just runs the joint as like a gunslinger, just going gun-ho, ask questions later kind of thing. Which totally fits the bill in Old Western. So she's allowed to do what she wants. And then, of course, the lovely High Noon Rel. She's actually super important in this alternate universe. She's called a powder witch in here. Not exactly sure why. Because she's not really like a gunslinger. But anyways, she ran away when her entire town was being burned to the ground by the fifth harbinger, which we'll get to later. She basically rued the day that she would ever see the harbinger again. She was gonna avenge her town somehow, and she actually found, I forget what her steed is called, but her horse, the one that is made of magic, steam, and fire, it is now bonded to her through her life force. So that's why they can switch interchangeably between each other, just because they're a bonded pair. And now she goes across the Western Rift is what I'll call it. And she basically is looking for this harbinger that destroyed her old town to seek revenge and get a second chance to save everybody. So I love that. I think she has a very good like heroic comeback for this skin line. And I think this skin is just stunning in game as well. Because like her hair is like all fiery and stuff.
I don't know that I've ever seen it in game.
I love it. I love the noises because it's more mechanical sounding. Like I know her base skin already has that just because that's what the horse looks like. But I don't know. This one just like hits a little. It kind of sounds similar to Senna's when she has her gun switch into the
Oh,
horse.
okay, yeah.
I like it a lot. It's really cool. All right. And then we have the lovely Hainun Samira. She was introduced as one of the people who were taking out Tom Kench specifically. She was walking around and saw on the bulletin that he was wanted dead or alive. And she said, "That's me because I can do that. No one else can do it." And basically, she tore down all the other wanted dead or alive posters of him so no one else would be able to um take the job, if you will. And she sees it as like such a fun game to just mess with him. She tracks him down. She hasn't gotten him 100% yet, but basically she's just enjoying the game of the hunt, and I think that's just so messed up because she basically just follows him town to town and like just fucks with him. And then she hasn't fully decided whether or not if she's going to fully commit to like close out the wanted poster because she's having such a fun time chasing this catfish around, which I think is so messed up because she's just messing with him.
She's
But
like, I can get you anytime I want, but like,
yeah, essentially, she's just like making a point. And I don't think he really cares either, though, because Tom Kench is a very chill guy in this realm.
yeah, okay, Tom Kench is like the chillest guy. I mean, like, not when he's murdering people in the river because he's the River King, but like, he is
Of course.
very chill in general, you know?
Yeah. And he's super strong too. So like
Yeah.
obviously, yeah, is she weakening him like over time? Yeah. But like it's not really it's like a brush off his shoulder kind of thing.
I
Where he's
love
like,
Tom
okay.
Kench an inexplicable amount.
Oh, me
Like
too. Me
he's
too.
not a hear me out or anything, but like I
But
kind
I
of
want to
just
be his
want,
friend.
yeah, I just kind of want to hang out with him, and I want to hear him say, "I am the River King," and like,
I wanna try his gumbo.
I want to hear him talk. Honestly,
True. I love his southern
oh
twang
my
in this.
god,
Pretty
his
cool.
draw is so good.
I love it a lot. The voice actor popped off, I
Yeah,
won't
for
lie.
real.
And then, of course, another beautiful splash art of entering Spittoon. But we've got High Noon Twisted Fate. His full name is Tobias Twisted Fate Felix, the resident card sharp at every single parlor. So if you are playing a gamble on cards, you're cooked because he breaks hearts and breaks bank accounts. So, unfortunately, if you think you're going to try and win while Twisted Fate's at the table, unfortunately, you are shit out of luck because he's running pockets all the time. It never really said that he had anything to do with any murders or anything like that in these towns, but basically, he just steals a shit ton of money and makes debutantes fall in love with him, and
Hmm.
then he just leaves. So, he does leave them with some trauma, I guess. But no killing, though.
Well, that's good.
And then, of course, we've got the brothers, Yasuo and Yone. Yone will come the second. But Yasuo is a mysterious sheriff that is hanging around a two-street town in the middle of nowhere. And he's actually accused of murder. Um, it didn't say who he murdered. And it didn't say who accused him. But apparently he's been exiled to this random-ass town in the middle of nowhere. And he's not allowed to leave. So any bandit that are attacking this specific town that he's been staying at, he kills them all and protects this little town. So he's like their own personal guardian, if you will. But it doesn't no one really knows where he came from. He just kind of appeared and was like all edgy and like, I'll protect you guys, but like I low-key can't leave, so just feed me, I guess. So he just gets to hang out and
Yeah.
he's your sole guardian, but you don't really get to talk to him or see him because he also works in the middle of the night
He's like
when
a
they are
ghost,
raiding.
man, but like,
Yeah,
yeah.
pretty much. Pretty
Yeah.
much. Yone's kind of the same thing. He has a lot of issues. He is made of shadow and gunsmoke, but unfortunately, he is also bound with a demon where he's like fighting himself internally. So he's got like a split personality thing kind of going on where his real body is fighting for peace and trying to like do good in the town while the demon's like, nah, just kill everybody, please. Like, actually, you know what? Let me do it. So whenever he goes into his shadow form before he flings back to his real form, that's what that thing's doing. He's just murdering everything, going to town, doesn't care about who's in the way. He'll take you down with his 2 swords no matter what.
This skin has a prestige, right?
Yes, and the name is
Lickable
actually
abs.
Peacemaker High Noon Yone.
And he has like such lickable abs.
Yes, he does.
Okay, good. I knew I
Yeah.
was remembering it correctly.
Yes, of course, of course.
It's
The Peacemaker skin makes him like 100% in tune with his real body. The demon is no longer really there, and he is out to just heal the world. He's out there taking on all the bad guys, saving everybody, making sure all the towns are okay, and he just loves just saving people. And so it kind of like fixes his mind in a way. But unfortunately, without the prestige, he is stuck being torn and split in two. Actually, Rel met him on one of his journeys and one of her journeys as she was on the run, and asked him, "How'd you wind up split like that?" And he goes, "It's a long story, kid." And then she says, "Well, I've got time." And so he ends up sitting down and tells little Rel this whole story, which I thought was absolutely adorable. And it was so cute. And of course, the one that Veda brought up earlier, the lovely Leona,
oh
the
god,
lady
so
of House
hot.
Solari. She has got one of the worst backstories, actually. She is our first harbinger, and it is called the Harbinger's End of Times. They're
Oh.
the ones who kind of got screwed over by everything Mordekaiser did, and it's the 5 of them who worked together to try to shut him down and win back the Sulfur Rail. And why the Sulfur Rail was brought up in the first place is because the lovely lady had her family's fortune stolen, and it was on the Sulfur Rail being sent out because Mordekaiser stole it all. I don't know what he needed with the fortune, but I guess it was just to like have it over everybody else. Basically, if you can't have it and I can't have it, no one will kind of situation. And so she kind of made it her one rule that she was gonna figure out a way to end him and end him for good because she doesn't want anyone else to go through what she went through. And she ends up teaming up with some of the other Harbingers as well. And then we've got Varys. Um, Varys is the one who got tricked when Mordekaiser broke into heaven. He's our second Harbinger. He was a dead angel that was going on his way, lovely way, to heaven, thinking he was going to go walk through the gates, have a lovely time, get to heal, and find salvation. Nope. He was actually the one who got shoved out of the way while all the demons and devils raided heaven. It was known as the Massacre of the Heavens. Mordekaiser basically got a whole bunch of thieves, sent them up there, and then once they broke down the gates, he's the one who unleashed hell on heaven. And because he was interrupted and was not able to go and spend time with his loved ones, Varys and the demon inside him picked up his bow and sent his mind in all the stages of grief, essentially. And the last one he kind of stayed on was anger. So he's kind of sitting on that right now, and he is just pissed at Mordekaiser, and he's currently on his way tracking down where Mordekaiser is so he can take care of him and make sure no one has to go through that again, even though he's not quite sure if he can bring heaven back, unfortunately.
Damn.
It's kind of like if once it's broke kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the lovely Katarina is also here. Her people got swindled really bad. Not really sure how much she lost, but basically the family and town where she came from, the mechanical devil, aka Mordekaiser, hired again more people, screwed her over, took all of her money, probably killed a few people in her family, of course, and then ran away to his little sulfur rail. So she became the third harbinger, heard about the story from Leona. Didn't really know Varys yet, but Leona for sure, because they're both a little bit more on the what is it called? Like notoriety, like they're a little fancier. So they're talking to each other, and now she is the third harbinger out to get Mordekaiser. And then, of course, the lovely, the cute Tom Kench.
Mm.
He doesn't do anything for money. He honestly could care less. All he asks is for a simple favor. So if you're going to ask him for something, he's going to eventually keep those favors and ask you for something at a later time. But he also has one other rule. He never turns down a lady. If a lady asks, he's there. No payment, no favor, no nothing. So it was actually found that he had heard that Mordekaiser was screwing everything up and messing up the sulfur rails, and he doesn't need any compensation, but Katarina ended up talking to him and was like, hey, this is what happened. Can you help us? And he said, for sure. I would love to fight him for you. And so he became the fourth harbinger just like that.
Well,
He's just a
yeah.
homie out to help the ladies. And I
We
love that.
love
What a
Tom
gentleman.
Kench. We
He
literally
is. He's so cute.
such a king.
He is.
Literally.
Of course, of course. The king of the river. And then the lovely Twitch brings in our quote unquote death realm. He is a traveling undertaker and he has a bone to pick with the king of the sulfur rails. He is our fifth harbinger and our final one. He has been noticing that Mordekaiser is messing up all of his time clocks for everyone. Because, as you know, when Death is keeping tabs on who's going to be clocking out soon, he can kind of guess when and where they're going to drop. And so that's why he's traveling all the time. Unfortunately, with Mordekaiser just killing everybody, just all willy-nilly, and not paying attention to like how their death is supposed to happen, Twitch has gotten very angry, very upset. And so now he has a bone to pick with him, not on anybody else's accord. So he's kind of like a solo mission harbinger kind of thing. But he is on his way tracking down Mordekaiser on the sulfur rails as well. The one thing I do have a problem with the skin though is instead of keeping the like red and black aura, this bitch is blue. Kind of pisses me off. That's just my only gripe with it. Why did you have to go blue? It's just like the blue flames with him. Maybe it's like a pure spirit kind of thing because he's like the god of death, but whatever. He just made me mad. But anyways, with death, obviously being like the Grim Reaper, all that jazz, we do have our angels. Our first angel is our High Noon Ash. She is a mechanical angel built at the dawn of the Pioneer Age. So this is basically kind of when the Western realm came to fruition and how it all came together.
Mm-hmm.
She is a promised angel that is sent there to protect mankind and to try and make their lives a little bit easier to handle, I guess. Basically because of the other people of mankind, aka the thieves and the robbers and all that jazz. They robbed mankind of their eternal paradise because heaven is broken. So she's there to offer them even just a sliver of paradise, even if she can't give them the real thing.
Damn.
And then we have the lovely Irelia. She is a fallen angel. She escaped heaven when it was being destroyed. But unfortunately, on her way down from heaven, she was tainted by darkness and she kind of hid in the shadows for a while. Her mind is a little torn. She's not a demon, but she's not an angel, so she's kind of floating in the in-between part. Later as she was hiding, Senna finds her and asks her, "Where did you fall from, angel?" And she goes, "I don't know," because her memories are a little messed up. So Senna offers her hand, and as she's newly resurrected, Senna offers her a way to find out who she was, find out who her powers came from, and where she came from. And so they kind of work together to help the benefit of man and find out if they can help negate their final damnation, unfortunately. But I think that's really sweet. I think Senna was very sweet in this, and that's actually our next lady. She's one of the greatest gunslingers in the entire continent and the entire universe, this universe. Unfortunately, the devil ripped out her heart in front of Lucian, which was really messed up. She kind of was working with him on a way to track down Mordekaiser, and when his back was turned, a devil went in and ripped out her heart, and unfortunately, she was left dead for a while, so she was kind of trapped in hell for a little bit, but she was mysteriously resurrected with the heart of an angel, so she's half angel, but also her angelic heart is bonded with a demonic steed, which is her gun, as we know. And she returns back to the overworld where she is now toying with the balance between heaven and hell within herself and within the world, because she finds out that heaven has been destroyed when she gets revived as well. So she never had a chance to see heaven as well, but now that she has an angelic heart, she feels bad for those who will never be able to see it in the first place. So she's like all about like trying to help them, and she's one of the greatest angels amongst this group as well.
I actually had no idea there were even angels in this skin line.
Yeah. They're not exactly shown as such, and there's
Right.
no way to tell, I guess. You would just have to see and like hear some of the voice lines, just because these ones, I believe I have 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We have Ash, Irelia, Senna, and Scion is actually our last angel. Basically what they are is, instead of just being all woe is me and like not really having a mission in life, they're kind of just there to fight for heaven. Like, the other people aren't exactly fighting for heaven, they're fighting for their own reasons, but these ones are strictly just because they're upset with like the way salvation and heaven got destroyed. So it's just big angry about it, essentially. And big angry is Scion, 100%. There's a reason why his PowerPoint says rage, rage, rage. He was a monster that was strapped to an experimental table where people were messing with the miracle of creation, which is basically how you create life. And since heaven got destroyed, life has kind of been on the lower end of things. Not really, it's been a whole lot of death. So when he came to, like, literally when his mind realized where he was, what he was angry. He was angry for being brought back again, because as you can see in his splash art, he has stitching all over his body. He is a jumbled mess of part machine and a whole bunch of people, so there's a lot of stuff happening in his head, and he's really messed up, but all he knows is that everyone inside is very angry having being brought back and not brought back in the right way, so he's constantly in pain, and the only way to stop the pain from hurting so bad is to destroy everything. But in his mind, I don't know how this happens, but basically he's able to dictate between what is bad and what is good. So if he sees like a couple people like out in front of him, for example, and a couple of them are being bad, he knows not to hurt the people who have nothing to do with the people doing bad. So it's like a weird judgment thing that's happening in his brain,
Which is so
which I love.
sad, knowing like
It is.
Scion's general lore, because this is so like such an homage to it, but such a new take.
Yeah, and I love that he's depicted as an angel. Like, that he's not just destruction. Like, he's rage
Gonna have to
for...
tell Grubbs about this,
Oh,
because this is his
true.
man's.
I bet you Grubbs knows, though.
He probably does.
God dang it. We can never pull the wool over his eyes, man.
Oh, what a babe.
Yeah. So remember how I kept saying the devil, the devil, the devil?
Yeah.
This is her.
Go figure.
This is devil incarnate. This is the lovely
Honestly,
High Noon Evelyn.
Don't know how I didn't see that coming.
Yeah. When I was wondering who she was going to be referred to as, and they kept on saying the devil, I was like, okay, there has to be one. Like, who is it? And then I came across her story,
And you're like,
it's
oh,
really
bitch.
Yeah, so Evelyn was the one who ripped out Senna's heart in front of Lucian. That's why Lucian didn't know who it was, because she disappeared after it happened. Yeah,
What a
the good
bitch.
old cloaking after
Ugh.
level 6. What a
That's
bitch.
stupid alt.
What's really messed up is she hangs around bars, and she basically lures weary travelers, and she kills them in between the like alleys of the buildings. Just 'cause. She basically is all pretty and dolled up, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, what a hot mama!" And then they're like, "Oh, you should come take a look over here." It kills them. They don't even see it coming, literally and figuratively, I guess. But she does have a prestige version. So you would think that's kind of weird. Why does the devil have a prestige skin? Does she just become God? Is that like how it works? The flip side? No. She actually gets worse. Her prestige makes her look even more enticing, and she gets even more dangerous. She gets a whole new outfit, which I don't have shown for you. I'm so sorry. But basically she gets a whole new outfit and she becomes even more dangerous in the world of the Western realm. She takes to the shadows and she just kills everyone mercilessly and doesn't really care why. She just knows that it'd be better off if they're sent down under instead of going up top. So, this is one of the prestiges that unfortunately does not get better. And of course, our lovely Bendito Fiddlesticks, which is another reworked skin. I'm so glad that it did because the OG of this one for the OG Fiddlesticks looked terrible. I'm so glad the new Fiddle has like a new horror take on it, which is even more horrific when you hear what's going on in the next storyline for him. He is known as the Whispering Death. Basically, if you're out on a little like horse wagon ride and you're chilling and you see down the way, you see a guy standing there and he's real thin and you hear whispers coming on the wind, you gotta go. You gotta run because the next thing you know, a crow will caw in the background, and before it even done cawing, he's upon you already.
Oof.
So he takes out weary travelers, he takes out whole towns. He kind of does whatever he wants, and as we know in his other lore, because we have covered him before, he can mimic voices. So if you can't see him because a dust bowl's going on, just know that he can see you, unfortunately. And then you'll be dead because he does not care whether you're man, woman, child, or animal. You're
You
done. You're
don't
cooked.
give two fucks.
Yeah. And then, of course, our lovely Hecarim, who we talked about earlier. When heaven was destroyed, Hecarim and his black riders just stampeded across the western frontier. They are basically hell on horseback, if you will. And him and his centaur buddies destroyed everything. If you can picture like 6 horses across just running with fire at their wake and just everything being destroyed, that's basically what these guys were. They just destroyed everything, and it is said that Hecarim was the one who gave Darius the power of bloodshed, where when he gets those stacks thingies, he's the one who gave him part of that power to be able to make death suffering and not so quick. So that's why he bleeds out all the time with his victims, excuse me. And then, of course, the big baddie himself, the one we keep talking about, the lovely,
my boy,
evil Mordekaiser.
My boy.
He's known as the Mechanical Devil, the King of the Sulfur Rail, and he is absolute behemoth of steel and gears and fueled by hellfire itself. It is said in the chambers of his chest, he holds the eternal flame of hellfire. He basically just...
Ghost Rider?
What?
He's
Yeah.
Ghost Rider?
Pretty much Ghost Rider on a train,
Yeah.
if you will. Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know why he wants all the gold and like money from everybody, but it is said that he actually melts it down and he made his own throne from the gold of the people.
He just wants to have it, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, so he kind of just like likes collecting things and causing mayhem. So, you do you, I guess. So and then of course with theirs being a bunch of sand and an old western, what's a giant scorpion? Like, let's just add that into the mix.
Yeah, I knew.
He is known as the demon of the old deserts, the savior of wayward. Unfortunately, just like Bandito Fiddlesticks, if you hear a whisper on the wind, you sure as hell better make sure it's neither just the whisper of the wind or the whisper of the sand. Because if it's the sand, it's basically Skarner moving around underneath the sand, and if you don't realize it before it's too late, you could be gobbled up in his jaws as it sinks through the sand.
Oh.
he basically whispers in his old native tongue underneath the sand. And so if you stop to listen, aka like stop your writing or walking or talking, he takes that as a moment to pinpoint your exact location, and you're basically gutted, and then the sand covers you like just like you were never there.
So he's a Sarlacc pit.
Yeah.
Okay, for sure.
Mm-hmm. I think it fits the bill. Like,
It
it's pretty
does,
amazing.
yeah.
And then Talon. Talon's kind of fucked up in this. He's just a true 100% demon. Corrupted by angel blood. So he was never angelic in the first place,
Mhm.
but because his soul was so dark from all the killings he was doing as a normal human man, they kind of just said, well, we should kind of make him magic, don't you think? So they did. People down in hell just kind of gave him angel blood and then made it dark. And then he just goes around and he just kills everybody. The opposite though is with his prestige. He will not kill you if you respect him. So like if you pass by him or he happens to overhear something and you like talk badly about him or anything to do with hell really, he'll kill you. But if you're like, oh, no worries, Talon, like I'll just walk on by, no worries, like I hope you have a good day, he won't kill you. So if you have good morals, you're good. If
Oh.
you are a piece of shit person, he'll kill you. So
Oh. Shit.
but he just gets to kill everybody anyways.
That's
He's
like-
kind of an angry guy.
That's like one of those things where I would walk up and like if there's that whole judgment of like if you've been a good person, you'll be fine. If not, I feel like I wouldn't even know my fate because I feel like I'm an okay person, but I don't know. And I'd be like, man, if you gotta do it, just do it. I just want my answer, I guess.
Yeah, just let me know, man. But he wouldn't tell you. You just have to hope that as you pass by him, either you're good or you're not. And if you're not, just know that your lights are about to be knocked out.
Yeah,
So
I feel like I would spot him and I would like look to the people around me and be like, bro, I might die. I'm sorry.
I might die.
I might die.
Yeah, you
I'm
just have a
sorry,
quick
man.
like blessing to yourself. You're like, oh my god, I'm making it out of this. And then the lovely ancient devil, High Noon Thresh. He is one of the soul harbingers. Not really one of the harbingers, as I said, but that's just what the names they call him, just because he hoards all the souls in his little lanterns. He goes around cleaning up after what everybody else did. All the souls that are left on the ground afterwards, he just kind of follows behind, and if there's someone still alive, he'll kill you just to make sure he gets your soul. He's very soul hungry here. He goes around, and if the souls are unclaimed, they have a possibility of making it to like a lesser purgatory. Still purgatory because there's no heaven, but if you're trapped in his lantern, it is said that it is like burning through the purest of hellfire, that you're just in external unrivaling pain all the time. And then he'll just leave your body to rot in the sun. Just cause. He doesn't really care about that. He just wants your soul. So I hope you're okay with that. And then we have the lovely, one of my favorites, High Noon Urgot. His name actually was Jeremiah James. I didn't know this. He was actually a famous railroad baron and a millionaire industrialist. So he was kind of around when the big peak of the industrials boom of this Western era was. Yeah, he lost a bet with the devil.
Oh.
Yeah. So it didn't say which devil because Thresh and Evelyn are the big two.
Right.
And it didn't really give like a hint as to which one it was.
Right.
But basically he bet his own heart, literally.
Oh.
He bet it and lost. Left alone in the desert to die without his heart. A passing demon was like, "Hey, your body looks to be in good shape. You're kind of dying, but I could help with that." He said deal before he heard of anything. And so unfortunately, all the mechanical parts of the steam engines that he was working on bound to him, and that's why he kind of looks like part choo-choo train. He becomes a cyborg, I guess. A cyborg mechanical being that roams the world and is he is immortal, by the way. And he's just a bunch of different body parts and tank engine parts.
Damn.
I feel
Yeah.
like it would have
He's
been
like
Evelyn that took it.
Me
I think so
too.
too. Because I feel like Thresh wouldn't care about his body, so like why
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like Thresh would just kill him and then just take all of it. Evelyn would kind of just let him suffer. So it definitely
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
Evelyn. That's what I was
Yeah.
thinking too. It's also said that just like Scion, Urgot's in eternal pain as well, just because of all the different body parts and like the body parts not really meshing with the locomotive parts doesn't really work too well. So he's always in pain as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course, um, we got the lovely Victor. He is Mordekaiser's right hand man, actually. So he is big bad. He is said to be the one that after Evelyn took um Urgot's heart, that Victor was the demon who pulled up and was like, "Yo, I like your heart. Can we use your body?" This is because Victor is known for taking different bodies that are left around and messes around with mortality itself. So instead of letting the souls just die and move on, he traps them somehow in these mechanical bodies. And so instead of just like having the big monstrous ones like Mordekaiser and Urgot, there's some that are like just mechanical people. Just so we can see what they do. He's like a really fucked up curiosity guy.
Right.
Yeah. And so I think it has something to do with like what Mordekaiser's trying to do. I don't know exactly because it's never really said how right hand man of Victor a man he is. But basically he just messes with souls and traps them in things just for fun.
Oh.
Yeah, and he's also one of the skin lines that has the blue flame instead of red, which I think
Mm-hmm.
only has to deal with if you're messing around with death itself, which is why Twitch has the blue flames as well.
Right.
Mhm.
Interesting.
Which is super interesting. And then of course, I don't know, this skin bothers me. I literally put yuck.
It's not pretty, for sure.
It's just an orange
Mm.
Kog'Maw. If you paid for this skin, you need to return it. Basically, these things are like the pests of the Western world. So if you think of like bugs, environments, and stuff, that's what Kog'Maw is. It's not just one Kog'Maw, it's a bunch of Kog'Maws. So picture a bunch of these guys running around, throwing up on stuff, destroying everything, and just making your life a living hell. Not that you're already living in it, because you are, but he just makes it worse. And that's his job. He doesn't have any other purpose. He's just a whole bunch of different bugs and things who try to kill all of mankind while they're already dying by demons and angels and stuff. So he just kind of makes it a little bit worse. And he's very hungry, is what he said. So, ta-da! He is the only creature amongst all the champs that are like labeled as a creature. Everyone else is a demon, a devil, an angel, or a cowgal or cowboy. So I thought that was very interesting. He kind of doesn't really have a mind of his own. He's kind of just like all
Yeah.
eat and throw up on stuff. Yeah.
That's
There
I
you go.
love that. So that's all. That's everyone.
That is every single one of the High
Wow.
Noon champs. And all you
That
need to know
is
is Mordekaiser, big main bad guy.
Daddy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thresh and Evelyn, main devils. There's 4 angels and then 5 people who hate Mordekaiser's guts.
Right. Right.
Everyone else is kind of like take it or leave
Wow.
it.
I just can't
Yeah.
believe how many people. You were right. I can't believe how many people are actually in this skin line. Like,
Yeah.
it's a large
33,
amount.
well, 32 technically. 32 slides.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Absolutely insane.
Oh
But I
my
loved
God.
all of them. They all like kind of worked inside of each other. I like the people who
Mhm.
actually had lore that was tied to another character, which was interesting.
Mhm.
Otherwise, kind of like Talon, they're kind of a little boring, where they're just kind
Yeah.
of like, yeah, kill people, woo.
Yeah, I
Everyone
learned.
else,
Oh,
go
sorry. Go
ahead.
ahead.
No, you're good, girl.
I learned that like a lot of the skin lines have like individual character lore like based on
Mm.
this like theme, but not a lot of them have like a whole bunch of interconnected stuff because before we started this episode, I was kind of looking through like the Coven lore, and
Yeah.
there's not like a whole like each of them has like individual kind of stuff, but there's not really a lot of like super like interconnected lore, at least from who I looked through, like who I scanned
Yeah.
through.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, I will hand it over to the lovely Chucky.
Hi, okay. Let me get my screen going. Okay. So today I'm going to be covering the porcelain skin line, which is my favorite skin line personally.
It's
It was
really
also
pretty.
Mm-hmm.
it was a Lunar New Year skin line. So yeah, I have just some little general kind of screen caps of the skin lines, some splash art. So in a world where ancient spirits and magical creatures thrive on the edge of modern society, powerful porcelain artifacts called the zodiac relics are key to unlocking immense power. They are kept safe and harnessed by protectors. The protectors are immortal guardians tasked with keeping the relics out of the wrong hands. So it's like all of the zodiac signs each have their own relic. So the first relic I'm going to be covering is the dragon relic. So the
Ooh.
first protector of the dragon relic was Aurelian's soul. So when the
Naturally.
Zodiac forged, of course, when the Zodiac forged their relics, Aurelian's soul was there. With 11 others, he was among the first to be entrusted with guarding these sacred artifacts and granting their immense power. In an era where steel had yet to sing and war was waged by will and wisdom, he wielded the dragon relic as a beacon of celestial might. So, kind of back in the olden days, before major advancement had come up, he was that first dragon relic.
Ooh.
Um, Graves, was the next porcelain relic, or sorry, the next dragon relic holder. As centuries passed, humanity sought to replicate the fury of dragon's breath with the advancement of gunpowder. The nature of battle shifted, and recognizing the growing need for a protector who understood its evolving force, the Zodiac sought a new guardian in the dragon relic of Graves. So they really couldn't find anybody who was worthy, so they were just kind of like they settled for Graves, is kind of apparently what the Zodiacs were thinking. um, and then we go to Misfortune here, who is the current holder of the dragon relic. So, although gunpowder gave birth to the cannon, the tool was refined over generations, and in time, it was perfected into a more elegant and precise weapon by Misfortune's mother. Now, with her
Ooh.
twin dragon pistols, she carries not only her family's legacy, but the will of the mystical creatures that once roamed the world. When the time came, the dragon relic chose her, binding its ancient power to her unshakable determination. So, she is now the dragon relic holder. I don't know who
Oh.
I like more as the dragon relic.
Me
I don't know,
either.
man.
I
MF is
will
really
say,
pretty.
the
Yeah.
Aurelian Soul thing now makes a lot of sense to me. So I have the Prestige Porcelain Aurelian, because Aurelian Soul's my space puppy and I love him.
Of course, of
Um,
course.
and so I have that Prestige, and his dance is like the most like traditional beautiful dance I've ever seen. And he's got a lot of stuff with this like whole pot thing going on. So
Mm.
I feel like the animations make a lot of sense now, considering he was like the guardian.
Yeah, that's true.
Also,
Makes
he's
sense.
called the Prestige Porcelain Guardian or something like that. So
Yeah.
I just like that they kept like Asol's head as like the basic design of the
mm-hmm.
cannons and stuff. I like that a lot.
It's very cool.
Like a
Mhm.
little homage.
And on like Graves' shoulders, I think there's also like some dragon going on. I don't know. I've seen like or maybe that's somebody else. I'll have to go through it. But I know
Mm-hmm.
one of them has like shoulder plates that are the dragon.
Ooh.
Or it might be some. I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. I forget. But but moving on to the next one, there is a mumu. So these are all the protectors. So these are still protectors. Um. So, Amumu is the holder of the rat relic. In that little picture, you can see there's a
Oh,
little rat in the corner, and he's got the little rat tail.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
oh,
so Amumu is fated to loneliness and bound to duty. Amumu was chosen by the zodiac to bear the rat relic, an artifact with both sorrow and resilience. Though
oh,
centuries have passed, the relic's magic preserves him, and his porcelain form, as fragile as his emotions, he struggles to understand. While
oh,
other protectors fight with skills and strategy, Amumu endures an eternal mourner whose quiet grief shields the relics from those who seek to corrupt them.
oh, my boy.
I
Me
love him.
too. He's a
So
little
cute.
He's so
teapot.
tragic, but
He's
he's
so
so
short and
cute.
stout.
yeah, there's his handle.
And there's a spout.
I love that. I love that because I didn't know he was like a rat because I'd always seen like Porcelain and Moo, but I didn't realize that he was like the rat.
Yeah,
I
is
don't
there
Yeah,
a
I didn't know
rat?
he had a tail.
Is there like
I don't know what I
a
was even looking at, that he just had one, I guess.
I know, yeah. Is there like what's the design on his chest? I always thought was like a smiley face, but is it actually like two mirrored rats?
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah, those are the
Wow.
ears.
Wait, I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah. It's
Man,
pretty
now I want the
cool.
skin.
I know, me too.
Thanks, Chalky. Dang it.
Next up, we do have Porcelain Irelia. So, graceful as the falling petals, unshakable as the mountain winds, Irelia wields the Ram Relic.
Mm.
An artifact of unyielding strength and harmony, forged by the Zodiac to embody both offense and defense. It grants her the ability to carve through those who threaten the balance with magic. With every movement, she's both a dancer and a warrior, carrying the will of the ancients as she defends the sacred relics. So she's the ram. So
She sounds badass, I won't lie.
yeah, and her skin is
Pretty.
gorgeous.
The whole porcelain skin line, they cooked. I'll give it to
They
them.
did.
It's
It's
gorgeous.
beautiful. We have next Porcelain Lux. So she is the leader of the Protectors and the wielder of the Rabbit Relic, as you might be able to guess.
Yeah.
Destiny chose Luck not only as the wielder of the Rabbit Relic, but the leader, and the Zodiacs entrusted her with the task of guiding the next generation, with her light both a beacon of hope and a shield against the darkness. So she's the leader. There's not a whole lot of information about her. I'm not gonna lie, in the porcelain, but
Yeah.
we do know that she is the leader. Don't know why.
I wonder if it's because, like, the hair is wise or something like that.
Maybe,
Yeah, it
That's
is
my
very
only guess,
possible.
though.
I would say that
Is
Kindred should be. Who is the next person we're gonna talk
yeah,
about?
is
Yeah.
hair maybe the top of the zodiac calendar?
Oh, I don't know.
Ooh, well,
Okay, while you're talking about
that's
Kindred,
actually
we
really
got you.
possible. I feel like that's really possible.
Yeah, let me hold on, I
but
got you.
I think so.
No, the rat.
Okay, so
Dude,
there's
let
no
a Mumu
explanation.
live. Why would they let him be the
Dude,
leader?
why do they're
so
always
vile.
shitting on my boy, bro.
Dude, he
They're
can't
literally
win.
always shitting on my boy.
Oh, Mumu. Dang it.
So Kindred. So when the dog relic was forged, it didn't merely
That's
preserve
me.
Kindred's soul, but it also bound her and her dogs together for eternity. So they were
Aw.
like fierce hunters together, but they had such a bond that they both were preserved in the relic together.
Oh.
Two halves of one whole, they both guide and mentor generations of protectors like Lux and Amumu, while ensuring that the sacred magic sustains them. It is undisturbed. So she kind of like, or Kindred, not she, sorry. Kindred, like leads kind of Lux and Amumu and stuff like that, even though Lux is the leader. So it's,
I'm the
I
year
They
think
of the
probably look to
dog.
her for guidance.
Do you guys know your
Mhm.
zodiac year?
I'm a horse.
No. But I got you on this next one.
Sorry.
Don't worry.
I'm a horse is just a wild thing to say.
My zodiac sign is a horse.
I know, it's
But
just
I think
it's
it needed
just
a little more context in the sentence, Shocky.
it's
I
just
think
like
that's what you
it's
meant.
out of context. It's so
You
I'm a
asked.
horse.
You said, "What? Do you guys know what your
Yeah,
zodiac
but
sign is?"
yeah,
I'm a
but
horse.
when I clip this, you will not hear me asking.
I am the rabbit.
Are you? Oh, you're Lux. I'm
I'm
Kindred.
Lux. Oh, you're
Mm.
Damn.
Yeah, I'm a
Wait.
dog.
Who's the horse?
Who's?
Okay,
Now I have to know.
well,
Yeah.
let's get on
Oh
to
my gosh,
it.
next slide.
So this is
Oh my god.
Darius. So Darius was the former holder of the Tiger Relic. Darius bore the Tiger Relic with an unwavering strength. Its ferocity and reflection was a reflection of his own pride and discipline. And in his time, the tiger was a symbol of might and the protector's unshakable will. But those days have passed, and the relic has chosen a new champion, one he believes is unworthy. Now Darius watches from the shadows and judges the current bearer, waiting to see if he's gonna like mess up and crumble under the weight of the relic's power. So
Damn.
he's gonna just like preying on the new holder's downfall.
That's so messed up. But that's kind of
Yeah.
on brand, I guess.
Yeah. And that new protector is Ezreal. So Ezreal never expected to become a protector. He was a scholar before a warrior, and his curiosity led him to the university archives. Which, if you watch the cinematic, it comes together like at the end of this. I would recommend everybody to watch the porcelain cinematic because it just everything clicks.
Oh,
So he was
beautiful.
just kind of messing around in the archives, okay? And he unknowingly unleashed an ancient and terrible sorceress.
Oh,
And his survival was like a stroke of fate because he was only saved by Lux and saved by the spirit of the Tiger Relic itself, who, like, the Tiger Relic came out and saved him and attached to him, chose him. And now he's bound to a power he barely understands, and he's taken up the mantle of Protector, determined to undo the chaos he set in motion by releasing this evil sorceress.
do we know who the sorceress is?
Good thing you asked.
Oh my
Of
gosh. I was gonna say
course.
Morgana, and we've got two of them right
I was
here.
gonna
Oh
say
gosh.
Lysandra. That's funny.
So, actually, Morgana, nobody understands the price of power more than Morgana. When the sorceress Lysindra stole the snake
Hell yeah.
relic in pursuit of immortality, the protectors
would.
had no choice but to seal her away. And yet, such magic demands a sacrifice. It was Morgana who spoke the words, and in doing so, she too was bound. Her rooster relic forming a porcelain cocoon around her
That's why
for a
she got
millennia.
wings.
While time stood still, she watched over the slumbering darkness, and her sacrifice ensured that Lysandra's evil remained buried beneath the weight of forgotten history. So she sacrificed herself to get Lysandra into those depths of the archives.
Dude, what the
Lysandra
hell?
bad, more
Also,
good.
I'm while you're
Mhm.
saying these things and connecting them to their like zodiac signs that or their like relics that they're holding, I'm noticing so many things that I didn't before, like the snakes on Lysandra's helm and like
Yeah.
the rooster heads on Morgana's wings.
Yeah.
And like, are those like eggs? Like she got like eggs.
Yeah, I was
Like
gonna
around her
say.
waist, yeah.
I mean,
Like on her belt.
roosters don't lay
Yeah.
eggs, but like maybe. I
But
They
like
could be
guess.
like
chicken.
I forget what those are called. You know those fancy eggs that have like the cool
Oh
designs on
yeah,
them
yeah,
all the
yeah, yeah,
time?
yeah, yeah.
I think those
What
are
are
those.
those called? Wait,
Aren't they Russian? I think.
probably. That sounds like very like traditional Russian of them.
Hold please while you continue on your
Like a
PowerPoint. Also
matryoshka.
W PowerPoint. W PowerPoint.
Yeah, for real.
Thank you. um. Okay, Lysindra though. She is the betrayer and the thief of the snake relic. So she is the snake relic. She did not seek to protect the relics, she sought to rule them. Stealing the snake relic, she twisted its magic in a desperate bid for immortality, only to be cast down and imprisoned by Morgana's sacrifice. And for centuries, she waited, and locked in her porcelain tomb, her hunger for power grew even stronger. And now, at the foolish hands of Ezreal, she has been set free. So,
Mm. Sweet, 'cause
Also,
I had
this
Ezreal.
I looked it up. They are
Ooh.
Ukrainian, those like intricate eggs, and so we were close. And they're called Pasanki eggs.
Oh, I was thinking the Fabergé egg.
Oh, what the
That's
fuck is
Russian.
that?
A Fabergé? It's like a fancy bejeweled egg.
Oh.
Faberge.
Oh, we were
Fabergé.
thinking of completely different things.
like
Well,
were you
is yours a
were you thinking
decorated
of
egg?
a
That's kind of on
So
faux?
brand.
mine is, but it's not bejeweled. It's like decorated in wax.
Oh, I see. Yeah, no, the Fabergé ones are like made out of like gold and porcelain and
Oh.
like diamonds and stuff.
Mhm.
Same wavelength,
Yeah.
different countries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Close.
This is a little screen cap. This is like a little art of kind of Ezreal, and Lux, and Kindred in the back, and a Mumu fighting
Amumu,
Lysandra.
yes.
Amumu the goat.
The
Literally.
guy.
But I just figured this one needed a little bit of a bigger screen time
Yeah,
because
it's so
like it kind of
cute.
and like also with Ezreal with the spirit of the tiger behind him, like that's kind of when he
Yeah,
doesn't understand his power, you know? It's kind of cool.
that is
I do
very
like.
cool.
So the prestige skins, there is no different lore for the prestige skins, but the Kindred
I
prestige skin.
fucking love this skin.
It's gorgeous.
This is the only skin I use on Kindred now.
It's stunning. I love it. And it looks so different than the original skin, which I think is really cool. Because sometimes when they do the prestiges, like for example, the Lux Prestige,
Is the
it's
same
beautiful.
thing.
Don't get me wrong, but it's the same. Like
Yeah,
it's no different.
it's the same
Yeah.
thing.
Like I like the little bunny. Like the wand is different. It's cool, but I don't know. It's kind of mid. And the Lysandra Prestige skin.
Oh, that's
Chef's
so
kiss.
beautiful.
It's so pretty.
I swear they cooked with the skin line. The porcelain
Literally.
like delicacy of like having all the different shards and like different pieces.
Yeah.
Also, blue and white and gold combo
Oh
just
my god, I
hits.
know. Especially when
All
it's
of
like
them.
that royal blue and like
Yes.
pearlescent white with gold. Oh,
And the little shimmer because it's like
yeah.
glass
And I
or like
love
crystal.
the
Mwah.
attention to detail here with like the snake skin part of her dress and like
Yes.
the
I
sheerness
agree.
of her sleeves. Oh, it's just so good.
Mommy,
Yeah.
sorry.
Literally.
Sorry. Please continue.
It's stunning. It's
Show me my
stunning.
boy though.
And okay, actually, I that's the one thing I forgot.
It's okay.
Damn.
It's all right.
Ace
He
will get
lives
no
on in my
love.
heart.
When I was looking at the prestige skins, he didn't come up.
It's
I don't
because
know.
he's
He
not
didn't.
called prestige. He's called like it's like
The porcelain guardian.
porcelain protector or porcelain guardian or something like that.
Nowhere even in the lore it was mentioned that he had another skin. At least not, or like maybe I just like didn't see it.
Maybe
I
they're just
don't know.
bitches.
Yeah, I don't know. So, my last kind of slide here is about the remaining relics and speculation potentially.
All right, well, Monkey is Wukong.
So,
Next.
okay. Okay, good,
Ooh.
good. So then there's the horse, the pig, and the ox.
I feel like
So,
the pig is really difficult because you risk like having to design a pig relic feels very difficult. Like, what are you gonna give him, like a pig snout? Because like who's gonna
Oh my god,
Urgot?
could it be Vex?
no.
Like sloth? Like I feel like her having like a little pig ears like on her hat
Oh my
would
god.
be kind of
Okay,
cute.
it could be kind of cute
Well,
actually.
I think Alistair needs a
really
skin
look
too, so
like.
give him the ox. That would look so
Yeah,
freaking sick.
exactly.
Yeah.
I think so. And then horse
There's
Hecarim probably.
yeah. There's so many people who would probably not fit into this theme that I feel like cuz okay, wait.
Rel.
Yeah, I was going to say
Rel has to be it.
Rel could be the horse because but also Hecarim cuz they're both
Yeah.
centaur-ish.
Things.
Also, pig. What about like Sejuani and like her?
Oh my god, give it to her.
Yes.
Please.
Yep.
Like,
Yes. You
I feel like
nailed
she
it.
looks
Nailed it.
really
Yes,
Nailed
good
it.
in
Chalky,
porcelain.
Riot should be hiring you right now.
Right? Hire me. Hire me.
Wait, do we have a goat?
Yes, the goat is
Oh, the ram. That's
Yeah,
Oh,
Aurelia.
Ram.
Aurelia.
Okay, okay,
Yep.
okay. Why would you not
Yes.
make it Soraka? Okay, anyways.
Yes. But
Or Orn.
Yeah.
that's my presentation. That's all the little guys.
That was so good. I like that
Yeah,
one.
W PowerPoint though.
W
For
PowerPoint.
real, for real. All right, let me see. Let me get this up here so I can switch it over. You guys are like not ready for this. I'm not ready for this.
No one in chat is ready.
Yeah.
Everybody in chat, W PowerPoint, ready for Vedas or W Star Guardians.
Okay,
Because
hold on.
you
I
guys
gotta-
have been fiending for this shit, And Veda's about to feed you, so
Yeah, this is gonna be. Let me get this situated up here. All right.
that's so cool. I can't wait for the next part of Porcelain Skins. I won't lie. Like that lore was actually super interesting.
Hi, my name is
I like the
Veda.
Zodiac stuff.
Today I will be doing my presentation on the Star Guardians. Um, as you
Against
this
my
is
will.
there's a little note underneath the title for all of you. By the way. So there's a lot here, and I'm gonna try to do it as quickly as possible without losing any of the story. But first we're gonna start with who are the Star Guardians? Who is included? Um, this is about 30 slides of champions, so just prepare yourselves.
Oh gosh.
We have Lux, right? We have
Yeah.
Gwen. Gwen is a little challenging because Gwen is a Star Guardian, but is not necessarily like a Star Guard. Like, you're not going to hear about her in the lore past the first sentence. Then you have Zayan Rakan, and then you'll have redeemed Zayan Rakan, which we will get to, I promise. You have Soraka. You have
W.
Nico, Nyla, Echo, Senna, Kaisa, Sona, Akali, and this is one of my favorite Star Guardian skin splash arts like ever. I think that this is stunning. Quinn, who I actually didn't know. Rel, who I actually also didn't know. And then Talia or Talia, however you say it. Oriana, another stunning splash art. I love this splash art. Mainly
I didn't
because
know Oriana was one.
yeah.
Whack. Okay.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? You can see her team in the back, which I love. Seraphine, my girl. Janna, who Alex, I mean, you won't hear me say it like bluntly in the lore, so I'm just gonna say it now. She is so like out of it all the time. It's like doing all of my research, it is so funny the amount of times that she's just drifting, like she's just dissociating all the time. It's like such a funny quirk that her Star Guardian character has. Yes, she's like, there's like multiple times where she gets like knocked down or something or bumped into because she's just zoned out completely.
Whatever.
And then you have Lulu.
Janna's missing.
Jinx, who I think more than anybody else fits the Star Guardian vibe so much.
Yeah.
Poppy, who I love her Star Guardian skin. It's actually the only time I like Poppy. Ari, Ezreal, Syndra, Misfortune. That's it. Those are, and there's a couple more, but we'll get to that because it gets a little complicated. But we're gonna start with the first star and the first team. So the first
Gets
star,
a little complicated. I'm so sorry, but is Pajama Guardians included in this?
yes.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to.
There's actually more little like kind of like cameos in here too from other things, which is very fun. But starting with the first star. So the first star was essentially the first being, and it was the beginning of the universe essentially, and the first being, which is obviously Aesol, like not canonically, but like we all know the story of how the League universe started, and it's with Aesol.
It's always him.
Correct. So the first being grew very, very lonely and essentially decided to, like, you know, give life to this existence. So, you know, the first being birthed universes and then galaxies and then planets and essentially like trickled down to all life. And in order to guard this new life that the first being found so precious, it formed what it believed to be Star Guardians. So it would select certain beings that it had created from this trickle down effect to essentially have more of its power or more of its what they call starlight imbued within them, to eventually one day be chosen to essentially like ascend to be a Star Guardian to protect the rest of the existence that it had created. The first team was essentially assembled in order to protect this newfound life from the Dark Star, which is our first cameo. All the Dark Star skins are technically enemies of the Star Guardians, which I feel like I kind of figured, but I never really knew that it was confirmed that Dark Star was like an antagonist for the Star Guardian line, which is very, very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the first team actually consisted of Zoe, Syndra, Gwen, Akshan, and another young girl named Harper. This blew my mind because where the fuck did Akshan come from?
Yeah. Like, why is that the first team? Bro, they weren't in the animation. Where you at?
Yeah, like I've never seen anything about Star Guardian Akshan. So reading his name in the lore, I was like, what? Where's that skin? So the important people at this moment are Zoe and her best friend and teammate Harper. Harper was essentially like the brightest shining Star Guardian at the time of this first team. And they all worked together to essentially defeat the Dark Star and then basically got to like be a team, right? But this thing kind of happened where when they were fighting, Harper took kind of a blow, and the way that they describe it is that her starlight started to burn out, which then causes a Star Guardian to fall. There's only two things that can happen to Star Guardians. They can either fall or they can sacrifice themselves to be turned back into starlight. That can eventually remanifest in a new Star Guardian, right? So Harper was the first one to fall. And essentially Zoe, because of this and because of losing Gwen, because Gwen in the same kind of like fight, her starlight was taken and she was turned into a doll, and that is the last we will hear from Gwen. Which is so wild to me because like she should have like a whole story, but she was there, turned into a doll, and now she gone.
Damn.
But Zoe lost it and essentially turned her back on her team and left Akshan and Syndra to essentially just like deal with themselves because she wanted to essentially like destroy everything that Star Guardians were due to the loss of Harper. So essentially it was decided upon that point that Guardians would either fight for the first star, which is that first being, until they have to sacrifice themselves or their starlight burns out, or they would collapse into darkness much like a dying star. So it becomes like a very like sad thing. And when Zoe abandons her team, she becomes the first essential star nemesis, right? So if you know the skin lines, you know that Star Nemesis has 3 skins. They will all be major points in the story at some point, starting with Zoe. So Light and Shadow, if you guys have not seen this animation, it is by far one of the most like, it's chef's kiss, and it has like it has music that reminds me of like Final Fantasy. So
I agree.
It just hits for me. I'm like so obsessed with it. It's one of my absolute favorites. My absolute favorite I'm actually gonna play at the end, but this one is a very, very close second for me. So essentially where we are at now, there's a new team because Zoe is wreaking havoc. She is going through the universe, like spreading darkness. She has paired up with Star Nemesis Fiddlesticks to an extent. And there's just like, there's a whole lot of chaos going on out in the universe. So we need new Star Guardians, right? And the team that rises to the challenge consists of Arya as the leader, Miss Fortune, Zaya, Rakan, and Nico. And in this cinematic, essentially what happens is they track Zoe to this lonely moon where they then fight her. And the first thing that Zoe does is she kills Rakan, knowing that it will make Zaya falter in the fight, which does absolutely work. So then Nico runs to Zaya to try to kind of help, but Zoe strikes down Nico and then strikes Zaya right after. Because of how quick this all happened, Miss Fortune tries to run to their aid, but Ari is like, no, absolutely not. We have to abandon this fight. All 5 of us will die. We have to get out. So the 3 of them are gone. Nico dead, Zaya dead, Rakan dead. Ari is like, my only priority is making sure the 2 of us get out so that we can plan our next course of action. So she drags her off. Later we learn that Nico did actually get out, and what happened with Zaya and Rakan is they are resurrected to serve Zoe as corrupted Star Guardians. So while
So
this
does
is
she corrupt their stars?
yeah, so basically because she has fallen to become corrupt herself, and she's now essentially like, she has Star Guardian power still, but she's actually like spreading essentially what I guess you could consider as like dark star energy, right?
Yeah.
If you think about it that way, she essentially turns Zaya and Rakan into fallen Star Guardians, into these dark stars.
Gotcha.
And so she resurrects them to serve her, basically, and then MF and Ari go back to form a new team with Ezreal, Soraka, and Syndra. Syndra, who, keep in mind, was originally in the first team in existence with Zoe. So basically they formed together, having both been, their teams have been destroyed, and then they pick up Soraka and Ezreal. So there's the new team. And then our other new team that we have is, excuse the picture, this is straight from the league website and their pictures are doo-doo caca. But our new team, I'll go to this one because it's nicer.
This is a quick glance.
Our new team consists of Lux, Poppy, Lulu, Jinx, and Janna. So these are the 2 teams we currently have operating at this point in time. And
I'm sorry. Do two caca fucking took me out. I apologize for the giggling, but I can't help it.
Dude, the league website is full doo-doo caca. I don't know what else to tell you.
I couldn't help it.
So the fresh batch of Guardians that Lux is leading, they essentially blend in as fellow like high school students, and essentially like, when we are introduced to them, there's already a little bit of conflict in their group because Jinx is beginning to like kind of go stir crazy, in the sense that there's a lifetime commitment to the first star by being a Star Guardian. So kind of mirroring Zoe in the way that she was over Star Guardians, she decides to essentially leave her team, and Lux begs her to stay, and she like reaches a hand out to her, and Jinx just laughs and leaves. She's like, I'm done. Then the rest of her team without her is forced to fight some beasts, and they're losing. They're not doing great. But Jinx comes in to save the day, and essentially it strengthens their team. And yeah, everything ends up like, pretty decent. And then Starfall happens. Starfall has got to be one of my favorite stories because it is literally like, let's go to summer camp. Lux and her team are kind of like, they're working well-ish together, but like there's some like little bit of like discord, or like they're not like fully bonded as a team, right? Like they're not perfect.
Yeah, something's off.
Right. And Lux is kind of feeling like, I need to do something. I'm the leader of this team. Like, got it. And like Lulu's been drawing some weird shit. Like we need to relax because Lulu's been drawing these things of her team out in the woods surrounded by a whole bunch of starlight. Um, and she calls them like new stars. And she's like, the new stars are coming. And we have like, we have to do something about this. So Lux is like, okay, I'm done with all this. There's this thing going on. It's a meteor shower at Camp Targon. So we're gonna go to Camp Targon and we're gonna have some fun and do some team bonding. So she takes them to summer camp, and while they're there, they're basically like handed like instructions and guides and maps and whatever, and they're told to stick together as a team or blah blah blah. Syndra actually is there when Lux walks up, but they don't recognize each other as Star Guardians right away because they're not in their Star Guardian form. Much like Sailor Moon.
Yeah,
And
I was gonna say, is
so
this Sailor Moon-esque or
yeah,
what?
absolutely.
Yeah, same thing.
But it is literally a parallel story. But anyways, so Syndra essentially kind of like looks down on Lux a little initially, and then she is called out to by the rest of her team. So Ari, Soraka, Ezreal, and Miss Fortune. Lux tries to introduce herself to Ari, but to be completely honest with you, Ari's a bitch. She doesn't give Lux her name. She like hesitates to shake her hand, and then as soon as she shakes her hand, she just turns her back and goes back to her team, like laughing and giggling and whatever. And so
A mean girl.
yeah, and so Lux is like, okay, I guess I'm not cool enough. And then she loses track of the rest of her team, and so she starts wandering around the camp, and then she ends up lost. And she was like, before she wandered off, she heard Syndra laughing at her about like losing her team. So she was really feeling it, right? And she was out into the woods and she's like questioning herself because she's like, Jesus Christ, I am lame. I'm a bad leader. Who thought that they could ever put me in charge of someone? And she's like, how did I even end up lost? How did I end up this lost without a map? And then she hears Ezreal's voice call out to her that maps are overrated, into which he offers her a map and also walks back with her to the camp. So during this time when she walks back with Ezreal, they're kind of like bonding a little bit, and they run into Miss Fortune, and they also run into Jinx, I believe. Maybe that comes later. But I know they run into Miss Fortune because she whole ass like starts to drag Ezreal off, and then Lux tries to introduce herself, and like Ezreal calls Miss Fortune Sarah, so then Lux calls Miss Fortune Sarah, and Miss Fortune is straight up like, Sarah's reserved for my friends. And then Lux is like, well, I guess I'm not a friend then, so that's cool. And she's just like having the worst day. So she finally gets back to her team, and they're kind of like around the campfire. They're sharing stories. They're kind of like bonding a little bit. And then Lulu at night has this like very strange thing where she's like, the new stars are coming. And Lux is like, okay, a little creepy, but for sure. Well, sure as shit, there's a point where one of the teammates goes missing. They have to like run to find this teammate. And what essentially ends up happening is there's a green glow coming from off the campground a little bit. So obviously the team springs into action. They're like, we have to, whatever is going on, we're Star Guardians. We have to protect this camp. We can't let anybody get through. So these like glowing green insects start coming up like from the ground and kind of heading towards the camp, and they start fighting them. And like they're holding their own, right? But these bugs are just, they're coming in waves, right? So then out of nowhere, the other Star Guardian team that we have, Ari's team, springs in. They start coming down, and that's the photo you're seeing in the slideshow right now. They come down in this like whole beautiful ass like ready to go team pose, and Lux is looking at it like, holy shit, they are so cool. And
I
like
wish I could be them.
literally, and they come down, their attacks are coordinated and they're kicking ass, and like these bugs are gone within an instant. And so after they completely obliterate all these insects, they also have like a team victory pose. And this is like everything that Lux wants her team to be. So she's feeling so inadequate. She's been knocked on her ass. She's been fighting these bugs. She's been mocked. She's like never going to live up to the standard that she set for herself. So she's really feeling it. Now, their victory pose was a little premature because the ground starts shaking and out erupts, a giant boss battle for them, essentially. The whole team has to then work together. During this fight, Lux tries to essentially sacrifice herself to save everybody else, but she is knocked out before she can actually do it. And when she comes to, she's actually in her own tent, and Ari is at the foot of her bed. And Ari essentially says, like, I want to commend you on being ready to sacrifice yourself to save your team. And Lux is like, well, any Star Guardian would have done that. And Ari doesn't say anything, but she knows deep inside, due to the things that she's seen and the things that she's done herself, that not everybody would do that, because she was the one who pulled Sarah away from Zaya, Rakan, and Nico when she was ready to sacrifice herself to make sure she stayed with her team. So there's kind of this like parallel that you see between Lux and Ari in that moment that I love, where it's like these are two leaders who are in over their heads because how can you ever be prepared for everything? And they're just trying to, as stoically as possible, protect their team. So it's like, it's a really, really good story. I would highly recommend reading it. It's got some really cute photos, like including one of Lux's team, like all chaotically in the kitchen together. It's like so adorable. But there's that. And then next we have the slumber party. Another story that I absolutely love. And I believe there hasn't been a second set of Pajama Guardians, right? So this should be everyone.
No, you are missing Urgot.
Okay, Urgot comes later.
That's it though.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
Urgot comes later. I do not have a photo of him, unfortunately. I have him listed in the lore. I did not grab a photo of him for the PowerPoint presentation, but I promise you he will be mentioned. So the slumber party. This one is like a very quick like little story, but essentially what happens is Lux decides to throw a slumber party in order to like get her team to bond more, because they're not, it's not that they didn't grow stronger over Camp Targon or anything. It's just that like she feels like they could be doing more together, right? So she decides to throw this slumber party, and she disguises it as like a super important Star Guardian meeting. So Lulu hears this and she said, well, if it's that important, we should invite Ari's team. And she does that without Lux knowing. And then they do show up. So Lux is sitting here like getting ready. She's making her like, she's like baking for her team, and she's like getting, everything ready and whatnot. And then she hears a knock on the door, and it is Soraka, Miss Fortune, and Ezreal. Ari and Syndra are not there. So the three of them are welcomed in and essentially told, like, Lux says, okay, well, surprise, this was actually supposed to be a slumber party. And so Miss Fortune, the entire time, she's just on her phone. She's like, I do not give a fuck to be here. And essentially, like, Jinx comes late to the party, and Lulu's got this like fortune teller that she's trying to do something with, and like nobody's impressed by it. So then Jinx is like, I've got an idea, let's play truth or dare. And so they start with like they start with like trivial questions. So it's like, how old is Poppy's hammer? And like, somebody asked one of the Guardians, like, I heard you were around at a time where there was nothing. Is that true? And they say yes. And like, you know, so there's like these trivial questions. They start to get a little deeper. And then there's essentially this whole thing where Ezreal is dared to open a portal, and they kind of like go through this little bit of a bonding experience together from what's on the other side of that portal, which I'm not entirely sure because I read an abridged version of this. But it is some sort of conflict that they have to work together to solve. And then once they do solve it, essentially, like, Lux is like, I feel like this has all just gone up in smoke. It's completely ruined. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. And so for the first time, Miss Fortune kind of like puts down her phone because she recognizes what Lux is trying to do for her team. And so because she cares, she's like, okay, cool. So then Lux apologizes to Miss Fortune using the name Miss Fortune because she remembers that from Camp Targon, she can't call her Sarah, right? So then
Yeah.
Miss Fortune is like, actually, I prefer to be called Sarah by my friends. And you get this like very cute, like wholesome moment.
Aww.
And then like Lulu comes up and she's like, I made these for everybody. And that's where the pajama sets come from, is Lulu made everybody pajama sets at the slumber party. And then Soraka decides to pass around her pastries, and Ezreal orders pizza. The pastries, by the way, are from Soraka's part-time job at Pantheon's Pastries.
Yes, the bakery.
Yep. So
I knew I liked
in this universe, those like culinarian things are,
Headlines?
they could be canon. I think except for Morgana, it would make sense if most of them were canon. Like Olaf just
I
being
agree
like a
with the Tom
barbecue
Kench
dad,
one.
and like,
True.
yeah,
Bro
Master
law.
Chef Tom Kench. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, so there's lots of bonding in this, and they end up having like a beautiful little sleepover, and it's just like a very wholesome moment, which is great because then the next thing that happens is not so wholesome. We have the Twilight Stars. So
Aw.
I also love this picture. It is off of League's website, so I apologize if, you know, the caca is still there. But essentially this starts with another Lulu drawing. So due to the essentially like premonition in the drawing that Lulu has, Lux is like, okay, maybe we should be patrolling the city. And she asks Ari's team for help. The only person who's available is Miss Fortune. So from this point on, I'm going to refer to her as Sarah because it's easier. So Sarah comes to assist Lux. They decide to patrol the city. And essentially what ends up happening is these little spheres are falling from the sky in bubbles. And the park that you see pictured is where Lux's team is kind of like chilling until they are needed, essentially. So once these bubbles start falling, they realize like, oh, they're probably harmless. It's probably fine. But then one of them pops after like coming close to hitting one of Lux's teammates, and it emits this black mist, and these bugs start crawling out of it, and you hear this tiny giggle of laughter. And everyone's like, okay, maybe this isn't safe. So they start popping all the bubbles, right? And they're like, don't let them touch the ground. This is weird. Then a portal opens, and out from the portal comes this little dark octopus creature. And immediately it sparks a fight. So the Guardians try to attack it. It's like throwing these bubbles or whatever. Lulu gets hit and falls asleep for a little bit. And this octopus creature retreats. And so this is the point where Lux is like, Sarah, can you please call Ari? But Sarah's like, actually, I can't. I haven't been able to reach Ari in a while. And so at this point, what we learn is that during the slumber party, the reason that Ari was not there was because she learned that that Zaya, Rakan, and Nico were still out there in the universe. And so she didn't tell Sarah, but decided to essentially go after them and like go to fight them. So this is where the actual light and shadow like MV takes place. And this is where you see essentially the fight between Nico and Zaya and Rakan, because M and MF while at the slumber party, doesn't know that Ari has traced, like, not only tracked them down, but has like traced their steps to follow them, because she knows that Zaya and Rakan died. So the only way that they're back is by resurrection. She can sense the heartbeats of others, and she knows for a fact there was no heartbeat in Zaya and Rakan. So she immediately tries to find them, and all the while, Nico is essentially fighting Zaya and Rakan. She essentially uses her shapeshifting ability to pretend to be Zaya so that Rakan will protect her. And in doing so, Rakan actually strikes the real Zaya. He then goes to, like, heal her. And Zoe pops out to then take over fighting Nico. She then opens up a portal to let Zaya and Rakan catch up to the fight. Nico then ults, and Rakan covers for Zaya, taking like the full Nico ult essentially, because Rakan's such a babe. And within this fight, the tower that they are fighting in starts to collapse. So while this tower is collapsing, Zoe and Nico are still fighting, and there's a point where Nico gets hit, and you can see the corruption kind of taking her over, but then Ari like busts in to essentially save Nico, and Zaya, Rakan, and Zoe all at that point retreat. So that cinematic, like I said, is just a beautiful cinematic. Everyone should check it out.
I agree.
After this, we have the Twin Stars. I do not think, I'm not entirely sure, but I do not think that this is an official like piece of art. It's just really fucking good, and I could not I tried searching, I couldn't find an artist name, so I don't know if it's official and it's just tucked away somewhere. Maybe it's like a Wild Rift thing, or if it's an artist who just like completely knows what they're doing when it comes to League art. But obviously you have pictured here Akali and Kaisa. They are known as the Twin Stars. They are absolute best friends, and they are so like polar opposite, which I think is really cool because you can kind of see it within like their color schemes and like the way that they look. I didn't know any of this, and it is like now like my favorite. There was a whole visual novel that came out for Star Guardians. It's a great visual novel, and it's all around Akali and Kaisa and everything that happens with the Twin Stars and the new dreams, and it's just so good. So these two are complete best friends, and essentially they're polar opposites. Kaisa's kind of selfless in a reckless kind of way, so she's ready to just like give herself over if it means bettering the big picture and everything. And Akali is like completely worried about that, and she wants to protect Kaisa, and Kaisa wants to protect everyone, is basically the dynamic there. So they have a fight, and Akali essentially decides to fuck off to the mall. And at the mall, Lux and Ari's team, without Ari or Syndra again, are there. While everybody is at the mall, Zaya and Rakan show up, so then the Star Guardians all take action. During the fight, Akali gets essentially knocked out, and she is dragged off to be saved by Sarah. When she comes to, she's like kicking and screaming. She's like, what the fuck? I need to find my friend, blah, blah, blah. And Sarah's like, no, it's not safe. But she starts to feel this kind of like guilt because this is exactly what Ari did to her, and she knows what that's like. So she lets Akali go. And Akali goes to search for Kaisa, and then Sarah tries to find the rest of the Guardians. Essentially, during this time, Zoe shows up and starts to fight Sarah. Zaya and Rakan are fighting to like the team, but then essentially like at some point switch off to, essentially like interrupt like Miss Fortune, who's trying to essentially like gather everybody. They try to intervene. The team completely assembles, like they all trickle in. So they take over fighting Zaya and Rakan. Zoe then shows up, but Zaya and Rakan are like very pissed at Miss Fortune for them being essentially abandoned. So they turn their attention back onto Miss Fortune, which then allows Zoe to strike her. And when she gets struck, it's like the corruption, even though she can fight it off, it's like inevitable because Zoe just fucks with her psyche and it causes her to sit there and like reflect on leaving Zaya and Rakan to die. And she starts blaming herself and like questioning if she's worthy of being a Star Guardian, if she was so okay. Like she should have fought back more. She should have not listened to Ari. She should have done whatever she could. Um, and during this time, essentially what happens is Kaisa shows up and recognizes what misfortune is going. Like she doesn't know anything about the Star Guardian world. She's just a teenager at this point, but she starts to encourage misfortune. And Zoe's plan like completely goes to shit because misfortune pushes through the corruption. After this, Ari and Nico show up and Zoe goes like batshit insane. She starts taking on this, like, she starts growing an exponential amount and she's like taking the form of like a giant titan. And she's just like falling to chaos. And when she's at that size and when she's like unleashing chaos, she can't directly attack the guardians, but she can unleash things that can attack them. These things that she unleashes are full chaos, so they don't know the difference between friend or foe. They just start attacking everything, including Zaya and Rakan. So from this point, essentially Zaya and Rakan are, while she's still growing, they're kind of confronting Sarah. So we learn in this moment why Ari pulled Sarah from the fight so long ago. And she basically says, I had to make that call as the leader. I did not hear Rakan's heartbeat. And Zaya, you had a heartbeat, but you were dying. And if I didn't pull Sarah from there, all 5 of us would have died. To which Zaya calls out, well, we would have died as a team. We would have died together. And that essentially,
but that's such a tough call.
yeah. And that essentially like breaks Sarah. And she says, you guys might have died and I might have survived that, but leaving you guys behind, a piece of me died.
Oh.
Zaya's like, I don't know what I can trust at this point. There's like the only person I can trust is Rakan. And all the while, you know, Zoe's just growing chaotically in the background. And when she starts unleashing these things, Zaya and Rakan are forced to essentially fight with the Guardians. So the old team kind of has this chance to spring back in action together, and they form back together and they fight flawlessly, just like before. It is just like the old gang's back together again, right? Akali and Kaisa are essentially off in hiding, but they're able to watch everything. So they're just like, I don't know exactly where they're hiding, but they're in some sort of like enclosed space where they're still able to like view the battle. Everyone's fighting, and then this thing kind of starts happening with Zaya where she's getting hit by too much corruption and it's overwhelming her. She's just dying from it. Like her feathers are blackening. She like essentially there's nothing that can be done. Rakan and I think it's Lulu, who uses her polymorphing powers to get bigger. They essentially attack Zoe, giving them some space to breathe, and Rakan drains Zaya's corruption into himself. So he decides at this point, there's no way for us to both make it out of this. I'm gonna take the full burden here. And he like looks to his old team and he's like, I need you guys to protect her if I'm gonna do this. And they were like, absolutely, without a doubt. So he drains her full corruption and then essentially slingshots himself to defeat Zoe. When all of this is happening, Akali and Kaisa are watching and their opinions are just so different. Like Akali is seeing this like this loss and this pointless fight and all of this like sorrow. And Kaisa is seeing like hope and determination and, you know, just like complete selflessness and care for one another. And after the fight is over and the Guardians are kind of like going their separate ways, Akali and Kaisa kind of make this promise to be better to one another. But there's this underlying seed of doubt in Akali because she's like, we can make this promise, but one day you're going to sacrifice yourself. And I just can't let it happen. So after on the other side of things, the Star Guardians, they all start kind of going their separate ways. And as the new teams kind of leave, essentially what happens is Zaya says, I'm going to find Rakan. That's the only thing that I care about right now is Rakan is out there somewhere in the universe. I need to get him back. And nobody protests. Nobody tries to keep her. They're like, go do your thing. So Nico, Ari, and Sarah are essentially like left alone for the first time. All three of them are back together. And essentially Sarah confronts Ari because she's like, where the fuck were you? What's going on here? And Ari says, I found this out. This is why I didn't go to the slumber party. I knew that you would insist on following me and I didn't know what was going to happen. And blah, 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 blah. And Sarah kind of like breaks down into tears, not because she's angry with Ari, but because she's upset that she felt the need to shoulder all of it alone. And essentially that's where we kind of break into like the current day stuff, which if you guys didn't know, there is a short comic for Star Guardians. It is fucking incredible. Reading that shit is so fun. But the gist of it is, while searching for Rakan across the universe, Zaya forms a new team, and this new team has Senna, Sarah, Oriana, and we'll get to it in a little bit, but she forms this new team, and essentially like we get this new dreams kind of thing going on. So Kaisa is given the opportunity to lead a new team. This new team consists of Akali, Echo, Talia, and Sona. And they essentially there's kind of this the whole thing that goes on where, because Lux disappears, which is like totally not explained like at all. Kaisa's this teenager, right? Her and Akali were not Star Guardians in everything we just heard, but they're chosen in place of Lux and her team to continue on the Star Guardian stuff. And this is where like everything goes on. The cinematic that I'm going to show at the end of this is kind of where that starts to take place, because you have Zaya forming her team searching for Rakan, and then you have Kaisa forming her team. And there's kind of like this parallel that you see, but you don't really see between Kaisa and Zaya. And so before we get to essentially like the cinematic and what's happening in there, we have to go through essentially like the growth of the Star Nemesis team, as well as like everything that happens in the visual novel, because it is crazy. So basically, to start, I'm going to show you guys the other Star Nemesis we have, right? So we have Fiddlesticks. He fiddles with sticks. And we have Morgana, who is so mommy in this. I swear to God. And I'm going to keep it here for a second, because Morgana is kind of like this dark force that is planning to essentially consume all of the light within the universe, including the Star Guardians. So there is there's a kind of beginning to the story where Syndra and Zoe track down Kaisa and Akali because they're like the new Guardian leaders, right? Kaisa's in charge, Akali's second command. And Syndra kind of like reveals a whole bunch because now she's working with Zoe. Hence Syndra's prestige skin, which is so fucking hot. As you can see, she is very much corrupted. She's not very bright. She's more monochromatic, and she's
Mm-hmm.
got that kind of green glow that we were hearing about earlier. Um, so essentially, she helps Zoe track down Akali and Kaisa, and she reveals that once upon a time, her, Zoe, and Fiddlesticks were all on the same team. So, do you remember Harper?
Yeah.
Harper, being the first to fall, became Fiddlesticks
Damn. Oh my god, wait. So she's in his picture. She's that little thing that's
in
trapped
the chest.
in his chest.
Yep. So, yeah, if we go back, there's a little
I remember Esper was talking to me about it. That's so
yeah,
sad.
so this is technically Harper's familiar or companion, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
who is trapped in the chest. And there is this fight that breaks out because when Syndra and Zoe reveal this, Kaisa and Akali are essentially like, we have to do something about this. So what they decide to do is they decide to attack Fiddlesticks. And they see this cage and they decide that that must be a weak spot. And when they attack that weak spot, for a moment, he transforms back into Harper. And
Oh.
Zoe gets to see her old best friend, and you learn Zoe's real motive at that point because she said, all I'm doing is putting an end to the Guardians so that they don't fall, so that they don't have to experience what you are stuck experiencing for eternity.
Yeah.
And it becomes this like you get like this glimpse into why Zoe's doing what she's doing. And honestly, it's fair. It's like, it's drastic, it's extreme, but it's understandable at that point.
It is,
So,
especially when you think of like how close Zoe and Harper was and how
mhm.
long Harper has been stuck as Fiddle.
Yeah, exactly. And so, essentially, after this conflict ends, now I didn't play the visual novel, so I'm not entirely sure if there was a full end to it. I do believe Fiddlesticks was defeated and that Harper went back to being Starlight. But Zoe is
Okay.
still determined to kill the Guardians so that they don't fall.
Yeah.
So while this has concluded, essentially what happens next is Quinn and Rel are pretty good friends who are also Guardians. They end up joining Kaisa's squad. Kaisa's squad is now one of the biggest Star Guardian squads to ever exist. It now has 7 people in it. So they're kind of like going on being Star Guardians or whatever. And Morgana's kind of like, do not fuck with my plans. I will end you. And what happens next is that Akali kind of starts having these visions that drag her to Fiddlesticks' realm that still exists. And she is fighting her shadow. So this is also a cinematic that is very good. I don't remember what it's called. I think it's Shadow of Doubt.
Interesting. I don't
But
think I've seen this cinematic either.
it's really good. But yeah, she ends up like fighting her shadow, and essentially like she gets to a point where she's being dragged down into the floor and she's got 2 hands outstretched towards her. Morgana, who is basically offering her the right to walk away, and Kaisa, who is her best friend, who is her leader, her fellow Star Guardian, and just like her whole world at that point. Like they're just so connected through so many avenues. And so she's not sure who to reach for. And she wakes up from this nightmare or this vision before she gets her decision, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Morgana's planning to steal all of the light. Her plans are growing, and Akali's questioning her decision on joining the Star Guardians, and kind of like how we've seen before, she's questioning the commitment to it, but she's questioning if it's worth it too. She's questioning the same things that Zoe did before she fell. And so this is where we have Nyla enter, because essentially this thing called the Dark Herald shows up, and Kaisa's team springs into action. Nyla is an outer guardian, so she's a little more powerful, and she kind of like reigns over a little more because she just goes around hunting the big monsters that are coming down.
Mm-hmm.
And so she decides to show up. Kaisa holds her ground as a leader, and essentially they defeat the Dark Herald. But then Morgana's like, oh, bitch, this be my moment. So she transforms into her Star Nemesis form, and she essentially absorbs all of this dark, chaotic magic that comes from the defeating of the Herald. She then says, like, this is going to be the end of the Star Guardians. I'm coming for you guys. And Akali's like, yeah, I think I agree. I think I'm out. So she leaves the team. She doesn't come to school for the next few days. Kaisa gets super concerned. She's like, where the fuck is my best friend? What's happening? So she goes searching for her and eventually catches up to her. And when they kind of have their confrontation, Akali is like, I'm going to join Morgana because if I stay with the Guardians, we're all doomed. It doesn't exactly make sense, but she's edgelord right now, you know? So, eventually we find ourselves in the big conflict where Morgana has extended chains to every single one of the Guardians, including Akali, because she is still a Guardian. And she's essentially draining the light from them. The only thing that is able to stop her is Akali and Kaisa essentially like join their powers together to break not only their chains, but everybody's chains.
Would it sacrifice them though?
It does not sacrifice them.
Oh, okay.
No, they are just able to essentially like bind their power together. I don't know for certain when. I have a theory, but I don't know for certain when the cinematic I'm going to show you, we'll talk about it after I show it. But then just on the flip side, just to essentially like give the conclusion to the Zaya story. So she's essentially trying to get Rakan back. She assembles this whole team. They're like, you know, they're all around like they have this like cute little vlog series that they do where they essentially like, we learn that the Star Guardians are now like very public knowledge, and so Seraphine has this idea to document like vlog style like her Star Guardian team. This is where you get Urgot, because Urgot is not a pajama guardian. Urgot is a super fan. So he is wearing a onesie that is official merchandise of the Star Guardians in this universe. They have figures, they have comic books, they have animes, they have everything. And Urgot is deep in that shit. It is so cute and funny. But yeah, so Rakan is still around. He's like way more corrupted than ever. Like he's like, if falling is a 10, he's a 9.8 at this point, right? So he's still around, and essentially once Zaya picks up like knowledge of that, she goes after him. The two of them full on fight. And within this fight, somehow Zaya is able to cleanse him. And I think it's supposed to be like a thing of just like true love. Like she's able to not take the corruption from him, but just eliminate it with essentially like pulling him out of corruption by reminding him who they are to one another. But whatever happens, they are both now redeemed, which is why we have those redeemed Star Guardian, Zaya, and Rakan skins. And now that I have the Zaya skin and I know the lore behind it, I love it all the more. And so essentially where we leave off is Zoe is again the Dudakaga.
Of course.
Zoe is just kind of like wreaking havoc. Still, Morgana's still out there trying to like absorb the light. The story goes on. We don't know what happens after that, but what we do know is that the Star Guardians are still fighting. So there you go, all of you fiends. Thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure. I wish I could say that honestly, but it has sucked quite a bit.
Thank you for coming
it has
to her
been
TED Talk.
quite awful. So now I'm going to get everything out of here. and we are going to watch the cinematic. I'm going to stream it for you guys so that you can watch it live time.
Yeah.
This is my favorite cinematic of all time, and I decided to do it at the end because if we get DMCA'd, it's okay.
It'll only be at the end, so shut up and suck it up.
Yeah, it'll only be at the end. I can clip this out. So just in case, this has been Star Guardian Lore, and we love you guys so much. Thank you so much for joining. Please remember, keep it real, but keep it curious. Awesome. Thank you. We'll do the real one at the end.
Yeah.
Speed run.
Speed run. Oh, sorry. I was listening to Lore, so it's in 2x speed.
He said, I need to make sure I needed to run it real quick.
I had it in 2x speed because I was listening to the Lore and it was an hour and a half, and I was like, absolutely not.
Don't try to make yourself remember, darling. Don't look for me, I'm just a story you've been told. So let's pretend a little longer. 'Cause when we're
So I believe that this is Kaisa being chosen. Like, I don't necessarily, because her and Akali have like a very complex, but like, you know, those best friends who are like also worst enemies.
Yeah.
I feel like that's them. So I think that this is like either a vision or it's her being like actually chosen.
Yeah.
And then naturally we have Rakan's feather, which breaks my heart.
Yeah, that's so cute. Sad, but cute.
I was gone tomorrow, won't the waves crash on? Is it selfish that I'm happy as we pass the setting sun? Someday I'll be overcast, but you won't.
It's just such a beautiful video. And the
I
song
love
slaps.
the singer too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Porter Robinson.
Yeah. Esper showed him to me. He's really good.
Darling, don't look for me. I'm
This is so
just a
Sailor
story been told.
Not the pinky promise.
And I'm so scared of getting used to this. All the vines that keep you tethered in your room. You said I'm sorry that you worry. Don't know.
Also, is it just me, or does Seraphine just not look like Seraphine at all?
Is that who that is?
That's
touching your armor?
Seraphine.
That's not her.
Right?
Maybe Ocean
Yeah.
Vibes or whatever.
It does not look like her at all.
Because she has pink hair. Right?
Well, she has blonde hair with her Star Guardian skin. I just don't think it looks like her in the slightest. Like, everybody resembles themselves except for her. Darling, don't look for me, I'm just a story that's been told.
Aw, they're so cute.
So yeah, you kind of get the parallels of like them, like the Star Guardians are rooted in a lot of loss, you know? It's like,
Oh yeah.
it's
Tragic stuff.
it's very much like once you really dig down into it, because like they're all about like, you know, being together, and like everything is solved by like their friendship and their camaraderie and everything, but like at the core of it, it comes back to that original thing of like, if you are a Star Guardian, you're either fighting your entire life for this first being that created everything, or like you fall and you become corrupted and you face a fate that might lead you to you know, become fiddlesticks or something of the sort.
Or something.
Yeah. And nobody wants to fiddle with sticks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
in game.
But yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well, I hope you guys all enjoyed listening to our favorite skin lines and the lore behind it, especially people who were demanding Star Guardians. You
you
guys
finally got it.
cannot ask anymore.
Literally, you
Rewatch
have
the VOD, listen to it
nothing.
on Spotify and YouTube. All that jazz. Shameless plug, by the way.
I will upload this separate from every other episode if I have to. You can no longer ask me.
You also can cut the video so you just give Star Guardian and upload that separately.
I will literally make a for Star Guardian fans only video on our YouTube and it will just be the Star Guardian lore and you will have it forever.
Forever.
So
you're welcome. And thank you so much, Chocky, for joining us for the
Yeah.
lovely League Day as well. It
We've
was lovely
missed
having
you.
Yeah.
It was really fun. Thank you.
Oh, yay. All right, Coveys, you know the deal. We'll see you in about 2 weeks on Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. CT. And as always, remember, Coveys,
Keep it real, but keep it curious. Goodbye.
I'm looking at the ground, but I'm looking for a sign. Make up your mind. All night, heard your voice calling. Almost saw me with tonight, but it was just a butterfly. Love me not, or love me kind, just wishing that you make up your mind. Love me not, or love me kind, just make up your mind. Love me not, or love me kind, just wishing that you make up your mind. Love me not, or love me kind, just make up your mind. Love me not, love me not, love me not. I'm looking at the ground, but I'm looking for a sign. Make up your mind. All night, heard your voice calling. Almost saw me with tonight, but it was just a butterfly. Love me not, or love me kind, just wishing that you make up your mind.